Hi there. I hope you all had a good lunch and you're feeling all amenable. Okay, who am I? As was said, I'm a designer. I love drawing, and I think it's one of the most fun things you can do on your own. My sister's a pro comic artist, and she's just been nominated for an Eisner Award today. So I just thought I'd share that. So hopefully I soak up a lot of these things through osmosis through her. I feel incredibly honoured to speak here, and I think you should all try and submit things, even if you think your idea is really off the wall, you might get in. Right. Aliens. I'm going to talk about an author called Molly Bang. She wrote this book, Picture This, which is used in art and design schools to teach visual language principles. Indeed, I used this myself to create horrific fan art that I put on the internet, and also to create logos like for petroleum companies. Both terrible. The cool thing about this is through text like this, you can learn control over how you make people feel with what you design. There are all rules, and it can be quite scientific. It's not random, so you have control, which I think is really cool. Right. Molly Bang is an educator and illustrator who was fascinated with children's books and folk tales. She did a lot of things, teaching English in Japan, illustrating public health brochures, and even reporting. She wasn't so good at reporting because she got fired, but that is great for us because it led to her making children's books full-time. Anyway, after Molly had written a few children's books successfully, she got to thinking, how do these work? She knew she could do them and people liked them, but she didn't understand what was it about them that worked. So she set to it to analyse a lot of these principles, and she actually discovered a lot of these through talking to children. Here's a good quote from her. Eventually, I was able to figure out the most basic principles of picture structure and show how they determine our emotional response, our feelings about a picture. Right, I'm going to go through some of these principles. Exciting, isn't it? It's lit, as the kids say. Fallout dance. Right. Smooth, flat surfaces provide stability and calm. Nothing is moving, so we feel very grounded. We're not terribly excited, but we feel safe. Vertical lines are more active, pushing against gravity, full of energy. So if you've ever been in a city full of skyscrapers, or conversely, a forest, you can kind of get this energized feeling. Right. The higher in the page, the more spiritual. Well, wrong thing. Lower in the page is more grounded and sometimes can be seen as threatening. Puss, you are not threatening to anyone, only native bird life. Right. Centre of the page has the greatest attraction. So, as the saying goes, front row and centre. Personally, I think it can kind of be a bit boring. I prefer asymmetry, but it's a total attention grabber. Diagonal lines are dynamic. There's tension and motion. Things slide off a diagonal surface, or they can ramp up and accelerate. White or light backgrounds feel safer than dark ones because we can see better during the day and less well at night. Sorry, if you're a drow, it's the opposite. I should have said that in undercommon. In the light, you can see this terrifying abomination I have drawn. Thanks, past me. Spiky shapes are threatening, while round ones are seen as nurturing, like a mother's bosom. They're not going to tip over, either of them. The larger an object is on the page, the stronger it feels. This doesn't mean it has to be enormous, it's all about scale. This fellow could be the size of a mouse. P.S. He is actually 10 feet tall. I know it because I drew him. Let's look at some aliens now. This is an Emperor Sea Strider. It is designed by concept artist Wayne Barlow. Designing aliens is incredibly hard as there is no limit. they could be a mist or 10,000 feet tall. And it's very hard to push past things we already know, like animals and humans. But Wayne Barlow is amazing at pushing the boundaries of life. There's long, large and strong on the page, incredibly anchored. The light is murky, so we're not sure if we are safe or unsafe. We can see mostly, but not quite everything. The rounded shape, despite its vastness, we don't feel threatened, in contrast with the flying ones in the back, or diagonal. Right, next I am going to talk about neoteny. This is not an alien. This is a dope 1950s Atom Punk mascot from Fallout. Hi, Bethesda. Sorry for stealing your intellectual property. Don't at me. Anyway, it's all about, neoteny is the theory of cuteness. Babies have large eyes and heads, button noses, soft chubby bodies, floppy little limbs, and a teetering gait, like me. They're helpless and need our help, non-threatening. We feel good about them, otherwise we'd die out as a species. So we can apply these traits to our characters for various effects. Here's Mild to Wild. This is Xenomorph and Kirby by H.R. Geiger and Masahiro Sakurai, respectively. Both are inhuman monsters who destroy everything in their wake. One looks like it was made from marital aids and piping conduct. It's got no eyes. That's not very nice. It's got teeth and also teeth. A spiny tail. It's basically a scorpion man. He's highly unpleasant, but extremely elegant and like nothing seen before. You imagine what it would have been like in the 70s to first see this? Nothing like it. Right. Kirby, on the other hand, supreme overbaby, all eyes, red cheeks, little nub legs like a fetus. Everything is non-threatening. He's pink, and a great gaping maw of a mouth. So those are extremes in neoteny. Here are some examples. Here's Garrus, the Turian. At first I thought, well, he's basically a lizard. And then I noticed he's quite kitty-like. The large forward eyes actually is seen as a lot of predators, not to be confused with the predator. The little hairlip mouth. Then we have Zhao, who is an Angara. He's more like a goat. If you have any familiarity with billy goats, this isn't necessarily a good thing, but the character likes to smell good, so it's some sort of irony. And here is Akit, and she is a villainess in one of the games. She's more informed by insects. She's got mandibles. Oh, they're not very kissable. The designers for Andromeda talked a bit about how they wanted to emphasize with the kit, these guys here, but not too much. So forward-facing, humanoid, but not as cute as these two. Right. I'm going to talk about some aliens from No Man's Sky. I was going to continue talking about the Mass Effect ones, but many of you have prior relationships, so it could prove distracting. Don't want any bad blood. I love Daft Punk. No. This is the Korvax. Oh, each one is called an entity, and they are referred to by their professions: analyst, chemist, chief scientist, convergence, divine atlas, interface, mathematician, priest, scholar. So you get kind of the type of people they are. They don't want trouble, they want to learn. They're also incredibly condescending. Korvac echoes teach benevolence to low intelligence species. Like, if I heard that, I'd be a little miffed. It's like further explained as how they treat you. Like, no one in this game views you as a romantic interest or a threat, which I think is really unique. Right, let's examine what they look like. They've got no eyes, but at the same time, they've got essentially what reads as a big open face. Everything is round. There's very few straight lines in their design. Even though they are robot-like, you see the rounded corners of their monitor faces. So round. Their body language is very human. They basically look like people below the head. And all the colours they wear are bright and nearly childish. So that's very non-threatening. Here is priest entity nada, which is a good example. The halo is very familiar if Judeo-Christian imagery, so like an angel. Again, no face, so there's a distance there, but they're not threatening. It's not like Darth Vader's helmet. It's quite different. If you do manage to annoy them, just a heads up, these lights flash red. So they do invasive expressions. So it's very easy to know where you stand with them. Geck! Oh my goodness, look at these guys. They like to trade. They're rather affable. They act as merchants. And this is how they view you. Client, customer, valued customer, best friend, or partner. That means the highest standing, not that sort of partner. This is a good clean talk. Right. They're familiar. They're quite they're like birds, dinosaurs, little parrots, small and round like a nana. They've got a little hunch. Sometimes they have little felt hats, which makes them look even cuter and even more familiar, because I have hats too. So I'm like, we have something in common. They have huge eyes and little chubby limbs. So again, they're like a little baby. This is offhand, but they release scents when they're pleased. These are not always pleasant to humans. See, they give you charms as well if you please them, and even that's quite round. Lovely. Again, extremely non-threatening. Viking. Said that real cool. Thanks. They're a bit gruff. They're mostly arms dealers, guns that you use to kill drones, because this is a wholesome universe. If you ignore them enough, they'll punch you, but they do have a strong sense of honour. i.e. you do something for them and they'll do something for you. They view you as neutral, accomplice, co-conspirator, close ally. So kind of militaristic. The opposite of baby looking. They've got big jaw. You don't see that on a baby. Look at that beard. It's made from cables. That's very macho. They're extremely square, solid, dependable. Smaller eyes, but you can still gaze into them. They're quite primate-like. Right. I asked on Twitter which aliens you'd like to date, and I have sorted them from respect yourself to, yeah, I see what you mean. Also, you might like to see my extreme narcissism by putting brunette with ponytails, right? Oh, terrible. Right, so, but that again shows no matter what you do, someone will find it romantic and lovely.